What is up, and welcome back to Talking Nutrition. Today's episode 79 about tracking macros, mastering your macros, doing it the right way, tracking the right way, going in with the right mindset. Remember that word, mindset, because there's a secret, and I actually don't like using the word secret because you sometimes see that, right? There's a lot of secrets, that are being used in like marketing, but I do actually want to call this a secret, to be honest with you. And there's no gimmicky stuff here. But this was something that took me a long time to figure out, and I recently did that last month in September. I want to say maybe August or September, but it was very recent. And that's why I do want to call this a secret. The secret to mastering your macros, to actually hitting your macros, to doing it quickly, effectively, 5 to 10 minutes a day, doing it consistently while being super busy, while having the need to save time. We need to figure out the right way to do this stuff. It's going to be a great tool for you. I know that. And maybe you're listening and you're like, hey, I already know how to do this stuff. Great, awesome. Still listen to this because I do think you also, because you're a human being, are also going through moments where you're like, I'm much rather not track, whatever it may be. And hey, if you are new, this is definitely for you. I want to kind of like set up the structure for this episode. We're going to start with the fact that tracking comes with a learning curve. Then we're also going to talk about why macros are important, why you want to learn how to track macros. We'll get to that. I can barely read my own handwriting here. My notes, sorry. So that's why you're supposed to just type this out, No, so then I want to talk about the phone call I had with a client of mine who shared the secret with me. And again, it's something very normal, basic, whatever. It's not a secret, but you know what I mean. Like, it took me a while to figure out, and I was wrong here in my approach. So I'll admit that. The process of getting started, and then last but not least, where do we go from here? How are we going to start applying this stuff? So, like I said, my handwriting is absolutely terrible, but I managed to read it. So, first of all, there is a learning curve. Let's be honest. There is a learning curve. If you're completely new, you're going to have to go through a period of time where it's going to be tricky. You're going to have a hard time figuring it out. Maybe you can't find specific foods or whatever it is. Little analogy for you here. And for the people watching on YouTube, which, by the way, if you're watching on YouTube or you would like to watch on YouTube, go to YouTube, Talking Nutrition Podcast, subscribe, like this video, and maybe drop a comment. It really does help kind of like, get these videos to other people as well. Plus, to be honest with you, just comment with any question and I'll drop it into the next Q&A episode. But if you're watching, you see that I have in front of me a Norwegian keyboard. Now, I am not from Norway. I'm from Holland. So we have different keyboards. Why is that? In Norway, they have 3 different letters at the end of the alphabet. It is the A, and O. So there's 3 additional letters. It's the A with like a little circle at the top. Then there's the O with like the dash like through it, and then there's the letter that looks like the A and the E combined, which is the A. So long story short, so I moved here, yeah, and I always had an older MacBook with a European keyboard. One day my keyboard got messed up. There was like one key. I was like, you know what? Like, I actually want to get like an external one. It's going to be more convenient anyway. So let me get one. And I unpack it. I'm like, oh shit, it's a different keyboard. And you have to go into settings and change that, But I swear, for the first multiple weeks, I was so frustrated. I was like hitting wrong keys and like they have some symbols in different spots. And I was like, holy shit, this is difficult. I just spent, what is it? At the time, I spent like 31 or 32 years, okay, I didn't use computers for my, my first year on, but like, let's say like 25 plus years, whatever it is, long fucking time. I use a European keyboard. Now, all of a sudden, there's different letters in different spots. Stuff has moved around. There's different symbols in different spots. This is really awkward. This is really annoying. Trust me, I'm going to bring this back to tracking. What did I do? I mean, initially, I got really annoyed and I was like, ah, fuck it. So I switched back to the keyboard and I used the one on my laptop. And then, I was like, I'll give it another shot. Because I was considering sending it back and ordering one from Europe. But okay, I gave it another try. And you know what? Like I still made mistakes and I put like different symbols in different weird places, but I managed, figured it out. And then the next week, it was a little better. And then the week after, a little bit better. And I went from literally like every single sentence I would have an error, which was very frustrating. I went from that to being super like efficient, like fluent with this keyboard now. I'm not even sure if that's the right way of saying, but you know what I mean. It turned into just being no issue. And what I can do now is switch between the European and the Norwegian keyboard. And just me knowing, hey, I'm on this keyboard, I change it in settings, boom, right away, I know where to find stuff. It's second nature. Why the hell do I bring this up? Why the hell do I talk to you about a Norwegian keyboard? You're going to feel the same with tracking if it's completely new to you. You are going to open that app and you're going to be like, wow, this I've never done this before. This is weird, annoying. Now I have to weigh my food. I feel you. I've been there. Every single person has been there. Every single person who's tracked before. So, first of all, know that you're going to feel like that and be okay with that. It's fine. It's cool. Now, here's the thing. Guess what? Just how I continued to mess with the keyboard and I gave it a shot, and then I still messed up, but less. And then I still messed up, but less. And I still messed up, but less. And less and less until I get actually good at it. Just how that was the case for me, that will be the case for you as well. I've seen too many people try to track for one day and then they stop for the rest of the week. They tried for 2 days and then they stop for the rest of the week. They log 2 foods and then they stop tracking for the rest of the day. That is not giving it an honest shot. That's kind of like giving up, knowing that it's something you've never done before, which obviously is going to be new and weird and awkward, right? Like, okay, let's first of all go in with a learning mindset. Like we're going to be open to this new thing. And no, tracking will not give you an eating disorder. It's like, hey, if you're already struggling with those kind of things, okay, hey, then this podcast is not for you, because if there's an actual eating disorder, you need professional help from a specialist, and that's not found on a podcast, on social media, in a Facebook group, whatever it is, or even a nutrition coach. If there's a little bit of disordered eating, we can talk about that, but that's different. Now, going back to that tracking will not give you those issues. It's the person who does take it too far. And I'm not putting it all on the person, but there's a way to use this tool to your advantage, to relearn portion control, to learn what's in nutrition, to guide you through your journey, to make sure that you lose weight fast enough, but not too fast, not too slow. You, in a muscle gaining phase, you gain weight, not too fast, not too slow, just right. And at maintenance, you learn how to eat enough, which is such an important phase. We can use tracking to achieve all of that, tracking macros specifically. But just how a hammer, a screwdriver, whatever it may be, whatever tool we want to use for this analogy fest today. Now, like, whatever that tool is, it can be used to fix stuff and damage stuff. So you can use macros to your advantage, and you can also allow it to bother you, to take it too far, to get too stressed around it. Make sense? So there is going to be a learning curve. Before I go too much on a rant, it's going to take a little bit of time, and that's okay. We have a tutorial video for our new members, new clients. It's basically like a very basic, like, hey, here's how to track. This is what I want you to do. Do not track calories burned. Anyone listening, do not track calories burned. If your fitness device is syncing, and if you're watching, I'm literally wearing one here. I'm wearing the Whoop, which is for sleep, those kind of things, heart rate. Calories burned, it's always incorrect. Turn that function off in your app. If it's syncing with your app, and we always use chronometer, turn it off. Do not go and add exercise in your food tracking app either. It's not worth it. We're looking at tracking food here so that we can start to make changes. Now, that being said, we have the tutorial video and we have a couple, resources for that and a little tips and tricks, sections. But I was thinking like, how can we get people, because I see a huge difference. I see a huge difference between people absolutely killing it, being super consistent, even during the busiest, craziest times. And then I see people who struggle with it for many, many months. And that's why I want to share this episode with you. I just want to share the secret with you. Because here's the thing, and there's a reason I'm mentioning all this stuff. It's like, this was my plan, right? So I wanted to create the perfect how to track macros training and guide. I wanted to turn it almost like, have like a specific ebook for that. I wanted to turn it into a guide with a video training and with multiple parts, and right. And I set out to figure out the difference between those two people, the person who really struggles and the person who really kills it with tracking. And they have no, it's like not even, it doesn't even bother them whatsoever. It barely costs them any time. They hit their macros, which means they get better results than anyone else. They go through reverse diets, and even through ups and downs, they're able to stay consistent. How does that person do that? How do they do it? I wanted to figure that out. So when I was on the phone with a client of mine and I told her, like, hey, I don't like comparing, and I don't tell anyone this like all the time, but it's like, or everyone, but it's like, I think you're the most consistent person in terms of tracking macros and hitting your macros and doing your check-ins, all of that, out of everyone. And this is, guys, this is someone who is going through gut issues, hormonal issues. We're also, on top of food, we're also tracking menstrual cycle, body temperature, stool. So anytime she goes to the bathroom, she tracks her stool through the Bristol stool chart. And I want to mention all of this because it's not just tracking macros, she's doing all of those other things as well. By the way, crazy busy times with exams, school, PhD. Also working, also going through a fat loss phase and then a long time reverse dieting maintenance where we stayed for a long time, cutting now. She had so much going on. And I was like, like, I have to ask you this. Like, how do you do it? Because I'm actually trying to figure this out. I want to figure out that difference and I want to bridge that gap. And I want to basically be like, hey, you know what? Okay, here's a resource and this is going to teach you exactly what to do and you're going to be all good. And then she gave me an answer and I was like, fuck, of course, like that is it. Now we're getting to the secret. Because I was looking at stuff, tactics, tools. But she's like, I sometimes ask myself that as well. And I think I'm just someone, when I say something, I do it. And when I say I have this goal, I'm going to do what it takes to reach that goal. And I'm going to figure it out. And I was like, yes, that is it. That's it. It's a mindset. It's not about any tutorials or guides and whatever. And yes, those things help. Don't get me wrong. I want to teach you still how to track that, your macros and chronometer and how to use that. But like, also there, it's not about the tools, the guides, the videos, whatever it is. It's about your mindset going into this. So if you are like my client and you are, hey, I'm someone who, when they say something, they do it and they figure it out. If they don't, know how to do it yet, that's a big word, and they'll make it work. And hey, guess what? If they can't, they ask for help, they look for help. And in her case, like we're coaching, so the help is there. But it's like, it was such an eye-opener for me because it's that mindset and we need to go in with that right mindset. And I know this is maybe you're like, oh, really? That's it? Yes. Because here's the thing. When you go in and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm sick and tired of not being able to lose weight. I'm sick and tired of going to the gym and I'm not able to, build the muscle. I don't recover well. I don't look like I work out, even though I go hard at the gym. It's frustrating. We've all been there, not getting the results, even though we think we do everything right. If we're in that state and we're like, hey, you know what? Something needs to change. I'm going to do what it takes to change that. I'm going to make sure that I'll figure it out. What I need to do, in this case, tracking macros, I'll find a way. I'm not good at it currently. I'm not good at it yet, but I will do what it takes to learn. I will ask for help. I will look up tips and tricks, watch videos, ask my coach, ask a friend. But I am going to make sure that this tracking thing is going to get an honest shot by me. And I'm going to do what it takes to get to a point where I get to use tracking to my advantage. I get to relearn portion control. Because guys, there's a reason we're here listening to this podcast, right? We're going to relearn portion control. We're going to learn what's in nutrition, macronutrients, micronutrients, fiber, calories. We're going through different phases. Like I said earlier, it is so key because it's not just about weight loss, whatever it is, but through your different phases, like initially you need your macros to establish your actual maintenance calories. And that should be a whole different episode as well. But you can't just calculate it and like, oh, that's it. Like it's usually close enough, but you actually have to go there and find out, hey, how does the body respond? So we're going to track our food. Like I said, we don't track calories burned, so get rid of that. But you track your body weight, average weekly, at least 3 times a week, maybe even every day, but you use the average. Then we have measurements, then we have photos. Measurements can be bi-weekly, photos every 4 weeks. And then we see over time how the body responds. But we use tracking to find that maintenance. We look at it and say, hey, okay, that's your expected maintenance. Where are you currently at? Is that like way low? Okay, cool. Let's bring you up. Let's increase protein, get you closer to maintenance while we track your metrics, see how you respond. Then during your transformation, like I said, weight loss, we want to control that rate between 0.5 and 1% per week because you don't want to lose muscle either. We're just going to look lighter otherwise. In a lean gaining phase, we want to stick to just about 0.25 up to 0.5% of weight gain per week so that you build muscle with very minimal fat gain. We also want to use tracking to do a reverse diet after a cut. Step by step, we reestablish maintenance, we keep you in check, and we move away from tracking once you are at maintenance. Once you are back at basically your baseline, but now a new baseline. You're stronger, more muscular, healthier, more leaner. You know what I mean? Baseline. The new you. And hey, maybe you want to do a round 2. Great. But do not move away from tracking until you've gone through those 3 different phases that we take our clients through, right? You prepare, you get ready first, then you transform effectively without messing around. And then we go to that lifestyle maintenance place where we bring you back to feeling enough or feeling good, eating enough, And I always also call that like feeling good season. It's like we're going to have good energy, good performance, good recovery. It's a great time. We get lots of food in. That is also where I always push clients to step away from tracking to where, hey, we've done every single day for months. Okay, let's go from 7 times a week to maybe 5 to maybe 4, 3. We'll remove you from tracking because it's going to be a tool, not a lifestyle thing. Guess what? Same going back to the hammer screwdriver thing. Like it is a tool that can be very useful, but it can also kind of mess with you if you take it too far, because that is on you. If you get too stressed during the weekends because you can't weigh the carrot that that your family member cooked, whatever it is, or you go out for food once, and we start to stress around that more than that it's actually useful, then we need to find a different way. And by the way, also there, we learn how to eyeball during special scenarios. Depending on the phase, hey, we maybe even decide for you to step away from tracking for the evening, for the day, whatever it is. It's going to depend on the person, though. Some people do great with that. Some people do not really. But long story short, like when you use tracking, like give it an honest shot. It's so important to use it. And it's maybe not for everyone. I know that. But I truly believe that every single person can learn so much from proactively, that's a big word, proactively tracking macros. Don't just look at the number on the scale and at the app. Like, no, stop yourself and be like, okay, we have the food that goes on the plate. Okay, you look at the weight, look at the food. Hey, okay, 100 grams of chicken. Okay, that's this roughly this much. Okay, cool. Then, of course, put it in the app, look at the numbers. Okay, cool. So I get 25 grams of protein per 100, this fats, carbs, whatever. Cool. Now we're learning. So that here's the thing. When you do go out and you decide not to track and you do have something that's, for example, a chicken breast or maybe similar, you're going to be familiar with like, hey, like that's pretty much 100 grams or that's pretty much 150 or 125, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be spot on. It doesn't have to be you thinking I'm going out for food and all I'm seeing is numbers. Like, no, we need to teach you to do well with as well as without. But once again, I really think that people can really benefit off that. Even if you do it for a half a year, trust me, like your life will change. Assuming that you don't take it too far, assuming that you do have the right tools and you also continue to learn how to be flexible with it, how to make changes, how to have variety, how to not be too restrictive, because people think tracking is restrictive, but it's like, no, it allows you to be more flexible. And of course, food quality, those kind of things are going to matter, but use tracking to your advantage. So I kind of want to wrap it up with that because it's nice to do a little bit of a shorter episode, but it's also something that's kept coming up recently, like over and over again. I get these questions a lot, especially in our free community. People ask, how do I start? How do I find maintenance? What's my maintenance? I got to calculate that, this and that. And I get that, right? And that's why I also wanted to give you a little bit of context, because if you are new to this stuff, it's going to take some time. But remember, the actual secret to mastering your macros and just learning how to do this right is your mindset. Because if you have that mindset that's just determined, and you will, it's not an if, but you will, right? It's when you will learn how to track macros. You promise yourself, hey, I'm going to figure this out. That is what you're going to need, because then it's not a matter of, oh, like I kind of tried macros, but it wasn't for me. Bullshit. Anyone who says that, they didn't give it an honest shot. They tried for like 10 seconds and they gave up. Now, if you have that mindset of, hey, I want to learn, I want to grow, I'm going to use this to my advantage, I'm going to do whatever it takes to learn and how to do it right, trust me, you're going to learn so much. I hope you like this episode, a little bit shorter. If you did, do me a massive favor, drop me a quick rating and review or review on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to our podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, share your stories, right, on Instagram, do whatever you want to do. Either way, share this episode with a friend, right? Let's make sure, though, that when you do give tracking an honest shot, that you also give yourself a little bit of time and that you also allow yourself the freedom of being able to fuck up every now and then. Because like I said earlier, with my keyboard, I'm just holding it up in front of the camera. It took me a little while, but I did manage. And right now it's something I use every single day. And just how with the tracking, right? It doesn't cost me any extra time. It's just kind of like something I do. So I will talk to you again on Thursday. See you.